So one of the things about your account is that I feel like probably on a weekly basis, if not more often, something that you post goes viral outside of conservative politics, outside of even politics in general, spills completely into pop culture. And sometimes it's something that's really controversial, and sometimes it's something that people think is controversial, but isn't. What have you been surprised about when people have been outraged about your opinion, aside from the birth control stuff?
I would say the one that I got in the most trouble for recently was I said I will never understand men's obsession with sports, and this thing went viral, Liz. I mean, it was like 11,000 quote tweets, thousands of replies. Joke's on them. I got the ad reply money, okay? Keep getting mad, men. But there were articles about it saying I outraged men. There was ESPN videos. It was a trend on TikTok to post my tweet and then their favorite sports clips. They absolutely lost their mind. So sometimes I think it just hits the right itch for them and they cling to it. And I think it also helps that a lot of people can't tell if my posts are satire or they're serious. And I do that on purpose. I kind of blur those lines because I like creating the dialogue and discussion around the issues. I think it's really important that we have open discussion. I think more people should be talking and more often. So I don't really mind that they disagree with me, but I enjoy that it creates some sort of dialogue and at least gets people thinking.
I think that's called poking the bear.
Yeah. I'll poke the bear all day long. Why are you, as a man, watching sports and not overthrowing the government?
Listen, all you have to do to substantiate your points is post that clip that I could not avoid. I saw it like 500 times a couple days ago of Megan Rapinoe missing that penalty kick. Just post that and be like, see? Case closed. Done. Here we go.
That's probably the most. Everyone making fun of that clip is probably the most they've watched women's soccer in their whole life. So...
You know what's funny is I mean, I think a lot of millennials, I played soccer growing up. I played probably from the time I was 8 through at least partway through high school. And I did used to watch the Women's World Cup, but it is a turnoff. I don't mean to sound like a boomer. It is a turnoff when these players become so overtly political because you do want to feel like a teammate, right? You want to feel like a supporter. You want to feel a connection to these players who are representing the country. And to me, it is kind of a turnoff. Like I couldn't quite bring myself to celebrate the U.S. losing because after all, it is still like representing our country. But I totally get and understand why so many people were like, yes, you anti-American Americans lost. Like, I do get that.
Well, you know what? This is probably going to be the last time we have an all-female women's soccer team here in the United States. So that'll be the last time we have all biological females on the team, in my opinion. The men are going to come in and we'll finally win.
They will, and Megan Rapinoe won't be affected at all. She said that trans people, meaning biological males, should be welcome, like right as she's walking out the door. You can't make that up. So who do you listen to on a daily basis? Like, we were talking just for a second before we went live here, and you were saying that a lot of political topics shouldn't even be discussed. It's just pointless outrage. But who do you listen to, or who do you rely on for political commentary?
I don't really listen to a lot of commentary. Like sometimes I'll read the news, like I'll go on X or I'll read the Wall Street Journal or I'll, scroll Fox, I'll scroll New York Times. I scroll it all to get my daily summary. So I get a pulse check on what's going on politically. But again, I try to stray away from it. Generally, I just listen to audiobooks. That might sound really dumb, but I usually just listen to audiobooks throughout my day as I'm listening to things on topics that are either culturally relevant in the moment or that I find interesting. Like I recently finished Louise Perry's The Case Against the Sexual Revolution, which is a fantastic book, but I found it particularly relevant to another project that I'm working on and some of the discussion going on my X feed and just culturally. So I typically just like to dive into the topics that are being discussed a little bit more. I'll find out what's going on and then try to immerse myself in it.
Yeah, I do something similar. I often listen to podcasts that are like limited release, like a podcast that has like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 episodes total that's about one topic. Because it's essentially an audiobook just divided up into 5 things. So do you care at all about the Republican primary? Do you care at all about the Trump versus DeSantis versus Vivek, or like you have a horse in the race?
Nope. I don't, obviously I think what's happening to Trump right now is horrible. I think he's effectively a political prisoner, and I think people on both sides should be speaking out against what's happening to President Trump right now. The reality is that we don't have transparency into our elections. I have no idea why, if they want to have these electronic voting machines, why not make the code open source? Why can we not have voter ID laws? There's a lot wrong. But because I believe those things, I just have removed myself a little bit from the hyper political conversation. I think it's very ugly what's going on with a lot of these DeSantis versus Trump influencers. I'm not for that. I think that's a total waste of time, at least for me. I don't want to deal with it. If other people want to be in that war, not judging them, but I just personally don't want to be involved. I think Vivek is saying some awesome things. He's really, I don't think we see candidates like him very often. He's got a lot of charisma. He's speaking to a lot of really important issues like BlackRock, like ESG, like the lack of purpose we have. And I think that's really, really important to speak on, because if we don't revive that purpose, we're going to go downhill very quickly. I think we really need to revive the American dream. We need to revive people having a sense of purpose. So I like Vivek for speaking on those issues, but I just don't want to get into the weeds of all of it.
Are you going to watch the GOP primary in a couple weeks?
I love a good debate. I love a good debate, so I will probably tune into that. But again, for the most part, unless it's related to the Trump indictments or, the things I see here and there, I just don't. But I will be watching the debate.
I'm going to watch the debate not because I think that anything useful will be said. I think that it's going to be like a clown show for sure. I think there's going to be personal insults out the wazoo, and I'm just like there with my bingo card, seeing who do you think will have the most hilarious, most cutting personal, not political, personal insult on that stage?
Did Trump say is he doing the debate? I haven't kept up. Is he doing it?
He hasn't said one way or the other. I don't have inside knowledge about this, but I would bet a lot of money that he will show up.
If he doesn't, then 100%. He's by far the funniest president we have ever had. He's just naturally hilarious. I always think back to that clip. I always reference the clip of him with Kim Jong-un, and he says, "Is everyone looking nice and handsome and thin?" And it pans over to Kim looking very obese. I think he's just naturally funny. So it would have to be Trump. Unfortunately, I don't think Vivek is very funny. I don't think I've ever heard him laugh or say anything even remotely funny. And then DeSantis, we'll see. But I think it would, hands down, Trump would be the funniest. He's naturally funny.
I mean, I'll be disappointed if he's not at this point, given his track record. But I think it's going to be great. One of the most fun political moments in my memory is the 2016 primary, when they were all up on the debate stage, and it was just zinger after zinger. These personal insults that were apropos of nothing political, did not serve the conservative Republican population to help people decide, and it was just like popcorn. Let's watch this show. Hi guys, it's Liz Wheeler. Don't forget to watch my show, The Liz Wheeler Show, every night at 7 p.m. on the First TV. You can download the free First TV app, or you can visit thefirsttv.com/Liz and start watching today.